Yo, it's episode 86 of everyone's favourite podcast that airs on Friday night or sometimes a Thursday evening or sometimes a Friday morning. I'm the host who likes to yawn. It's Ian Austin back with Friday Night Fright episode 86. And part of Comic Book Calcadia month, I'm doing Ant-Man 2, Ant-Man and Wasp today, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now I know what you're going to say, Ian, this isn't horror. And you're right, Ant-Man and Wasp can't even be loosely categorised as horror. It's a homage to science fiction from like 1950s, the Incredible Voyage and Fantastic Journey and all that stuff. And it's very much inspired by that, and it's not very horrifying, or even if I was to stretch it and say scenes set in the quantum realm were horrifying, you would say, no, they're not, Ian, you're talking bollocks. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., likewise, is not a horror show at all. But, in my defence, I'm trying to carve up as much of Marvel Cinematic Universe as possible, and there's not a lot of horror movies in there, so I don't know what you want me to do. I could not do this feature for the month. I could do something different. I could do anything different. I could just say nope and do horror movies. I'm stressed out from doing an episode today, but I'm not going to. I'm going to do this anyway, because why not? Why not indeed? Yeah. So there you go. Today's episode, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Ant-Man and Wasp, and I'll start my Ant-Man and Wasp preview in just a few seconds after a brief word from my sponsor, because I like to create illusion I might make some money off his podcast. So I'll be back in just a tick. Hello and welcome to Friday Night Fright presents Comic Book Calcadia 2020. Man, we're going to have some fun this month. Every episode in May, every day in May, there's going to be a brand new episode. It's going to be a mini review of a comic book movie. Yay, can't wait, hyped. So it's going to cover the gauntlet. It's going to be loads of MCU stuff. There's going to be some DC stuff probably. Might be some other stuff. There's going to be Flash recaps of Flash Season 2 every Tuesday. So it's going to be 4 or 5 of those, depending on how many Tuesdays are in May. But it's going to be tight, because I've also got a week off. Yay! Anyway, this is the intro Comic Book Calcadia. So you'll hear this every day of the week, and then you'll hear an intro for the movie I'm covering that day, or TV show. Ooh, scary! Anyway, I'll be back after a brief word from our sponsor. So, Ant-Man and Wasp. Before I get into a review of the movie, I should say that I really enjoyed the original Ant-Man, despite the fact that it wasn't a version Edgar Wright was hoping to make by any stretch of imagination, but he didn't actually direct the movie at all, so that's immaterial. My bed's creaking, wonderful. So Ant-Man and Wasp. At the time, I did watch Ant-Man when it came out in cinemas. I watched later on Netflix, and then I watched it, and I was like, oh my god, I can't wait to watch Ant-Man and Wasp. And then I didn't see Ant-Man and Wasp at the cinema, despite that having the opportunity. I was very lazy and decided not to go. And then I can't remember actually whether I saw it at the cinema or not. I know I didn't see Ant-Man. I don't know. Something. Anyway, I saw Ant-Man 2 and Wasp eventually, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it's a really good at the time, really good movie, really funny, very amusing, and just genuinely a really good movie, very heartwarming, and a nice change of pace from Captain America Civil War and some of the other big serious Marvel movies. This seemed more like, especially after Infinity War, this seemed like a palate cleanser, if you will. A nice, fun movie to remind us movies can be nice and fun and not traumatizing. Especially Marvel movies. So I really enjoyed it at the time, and it'll be interesting to see how it shapes up after Avengers Infinity War. So I will let you know about my experiences in just a second, because I like to create lots of gaps in this podcast. So, my actual view of Ant-Man and Wasp, well, I loved it. I genuinely really enjoyed it, and I might hesitate to say, well, I won't hesitate to say, but Ant-Man might be one of my favourite Marvel franchises, because it's just enjoyable to watch. I mean, that sounds so weird to say. This is a horror movie podcast, but I really like Ant-Man. I really like the Ant-Man movies. They're really well constructed movies, and they're just generally nice to watch. And quantify that. When I say nice to watch, I mean there is tension, there is conflict, there is character development and all of that stuff, but they're just nice. They're nice movies. They remind me of the Honey, I Shrunk My Kid movies from like the 90s, and you know, a movie that almost goes straight to Disney Channel, which is just nice. Like even bad guys. Well, I mean, in the first one, Cross was a douchebag, but in this movie, there is no real bad guys. The worst character on screen is probably Sonny Birch, but even then, it's like he's played by such a charming actor, you know, and that you're just like, oh man, I don't want anything bad to happen to him. You know, he just needs to go to jail. That's all that needs to happen. But the whole movie's just nice, and I think a big part of that is Paul Rudd creating this sense of turning the Edgar Wright fiasco into an opportunity to make the sort of superhero movie he wanted to make, which is very inspired by sort of comedies that he has made over his career, whereby the conflicts arise, but the characters don't particularly take issue with each other. You know, there's almost more external conflicts more than anything. And it's just a really sharp, enjoyable experience. It feels very improvisational, which I don't think it is because of the way Marvel make their movies, but feels that way. It's like Paul Rudd's brought, as I just alluded to, a lot of his elements of his career into character and characterization and the other characters, and almost like you've just thrown a typical Paul Rudd character into the MCU and shaped it thusly. I mean, just look at Lewis, for example, with his rambling stories that go nowhere, which feels like something you'd never get past the test audience. But if you have faith to avoid test audiences, I don't know whether Ant-Man Wasp did avoid test audiences, I'd hope it did. But it feels like something the studio would want cut from a movie, but adds so much personality that you need to have it in your movie for it to feel unique and interesting. And this definitely feels unique and interesting. And it's weird because it's the first Marvel movie without a clear-cut bad guy. Because on the surface, Sonny Birch is bad guy, but then you got Ava, aka Ghost. And, like, Sonny Birch is kind of a parody of one of those gangster criminal millionaires from like the 2000s superhero movies, and Ava's more an antagonist. So this movie doesn't really have that sense of, oh, we've beat Cross, oh, we've won the day. It more has the effect of, our goal is to get Janet Van Dyne back from Quantum Realm, and the heist elements play alongside that. But it's more a movie about exploring science than anything else. And I really enjoyed it, and also it's so funny, guys. Oh man, it's so Lewis's rambling monologue when he's given truth serum is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Really, really, truly, and utterly. And what's the other stuff I like? I love the cars. I love the visual inventiveness of Ant-Man and Wasp. It's just the cracking ways that they go about capturing the interesting visuals. And the dynamics, like when Lewis is going through the Hot Wheels collector's box, and it's got all cars, and he pulls one out, and then starts driving, and then he shrinks down and drive it, and then shrinks. It's just so cool. Like the lever that's going between giant normal size and ant size for the car is such a brilliant idea. And the quantum realm aspects are sufficiently weird and horrifying too. So yeah, very good. What will I rank it down on? Well, I mean, this movie does veer more into Marvel Cinematic Universe than the last movie did. That movie had a few bits and pieces, but this movie is dripping with it. If you haven't seen Captain America Civil War, this movie won't make a lot of sense to you because a lot of plot elements are picked up from there, and it assumes that you have seen it. The stuff where he tried to explain why Hope and Hank didn't get involved in Civil War is a bit... I get why they feel they have to do it, but drags the movie a bit. It does create some conflict between them and Scott, which I suppose is necessary for the finale of the movie, but it still feels a bit weak. And the CGI de-aging, I suppose that CGI de-aging is a horror aspect of this movie, because dear God, it doesn't work. It worked at like other times I've watched movie, but Disney Plus is super super HD, really exposes it. Instead, I can't say enough about Disney Plus. They're fantastic, and I love Wayne that they pay for my... No. I love Wayne. I pay for my Disney Plus. I don't accept bribes from Disney. I don't accept bribes from, the greatest studio in the history of universe who's revolutionising streaming and theme parks and has single-handedly saved cinema. I don't accept bribes from anyone. I'm saying if I did, it would probably be Disney, but I don't, so... But no, their transfer is fantastic, but really exposes some of the dodgy de-aging effects, and then they become horrifying. So there's your horror tying. What else can I say about Ant-Man Wasp? Not much, really. This isn't going to be a very long episode, because there's not much I can say, really, about Ant-Man and Wasp, other than I really enjoyed it. 4 out of 5, very entertaining, really got into it, and looking forward to watching Captain Marvel tomorrow. So there's the Ant-Man part, and I guess I'll talk about my knowledge of Agent S.H.I.E.L.D. and then I'll review first episode. And then this will be a really short episode of the podcast. Anyway, I'll be back in just a sec to start talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So, what's my knowledge of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. before I watch the first episode and do a review of it? I know it's about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I know it's stars Phil Coulson, which is strange because he died in the Avengers, and as far as I know, hasn't been brought back to life or mentioned in your movies since. And at some point, S.H.I.E.L.D. destroys itself, but then reforms, I guess. And I don't know how the series is going to tie in any of that. Because apparently it's set in Marvel Cinematic Universe, so yay. Although I have to assume that by that they mean it's set in one of the many timelines. Setting one of many timelines of Avengers Infinity War alludes to. And it was co-created by Joss Whedon, who wrote and directed the first episode and then left, which, you would assume, it gives it some credibility in terms of Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I don't know. I like Joss Whedon's TV shows. I still maintain Firefly's a great show. I do know there's lots of problematic aspects to it, but I think those aspects are rooted in the genre, in the subgenre of the Western. So it's trying to be respectful of that genre, even if it's not respectful of women or races or sexuality or anything like that. I still like Firefly. I still think Angel was a really good show. Buffy hasn't aged well at all. Dollhouse was really bad. So, Joss is on 50% batting rate regarding TV for me. So it'll be interesting to see how this serves. Apparently he's making a new TV show. Well, after he ruined Justice League, I'm sure he's got to do something. But yeah, anyway, I'm looking forward to giving this episode a try. It might be crap, but it might be good. So, there you go. And we'll discuss my reactions to the episode in just a sec. Okay, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Episode 1. So I did actually watch this when it came out, because I was a Marvel nerd and still am, and I was like, it's complete part of the universe and it's a TV show, yay. And I was pumped for it, and I thought Joss Whedon being involved would be a sign of quality. Thought it'd be a sign of quality, and it was okay. It's an okay pilot. It's not bad. It's watchable, I guess. That's the best you can say about it, though. It's watchable. It just feels like it's made by a committee. It's not very Joss-ian. It's not particularly interesting. The story's kind of flat. And the characters are sort of like... it's a setup for interesting stories down the line, I guess. There's potential for conflict between characters. How Coulson's come back is interesting, and they do a decent job pointing out that these characters are all unique and nearly Avengers level, not quite, and not ever going to get there, but almost there. And in general, just seems to be they could have got anyone from movie site beyond TV show, except for Colby Smulders and Maria Hill, but they don't have her as part of the TV show, despite the fact that she is literally an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. No. So, it's weird, because like, they do a setup of Hawkeye and Black Widow, they're agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then reveal in the show, oh, they're the upper echelon agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We don't have those. Like, I know why they didn't, but maybe they should have cast TV people who would have been prepared to do TV in those roles. I'm just saying, like, Jeremy Renner audition for Hawkeye. You tell me you couldn't have had Jeremy Renner. No, not Jeremy Renner. Dude of Jensen Ackles of Supernatural audition for Hawkeye. You tell me you couldn't have paid him to make TV show movies. Like, probably would have been happy doing it. I guess maybe, I don't know. But it just goes to show that that you can't really bridge movies and TV shows that much. It doesn't work because, unless you've got something like Disney Plus, when it works, because, they're doing less episodes and they're paying more money and they're treating it more like a long movie rather than a TV show. I mean, this was okay. It's a procedural drama. It's got Mystery of the Week. But it just doesn't feel as fresh as other Joss Whedon shows. It feels like he's just spinning barrels. And also, to a degree, I get the impression that he was doing his brother and sister-in-law a favour. And not that they're not talented, because they did a decent job. It's good. Clearly, it's got enough momentum and stretch for a couple of years. Indeed, it's on season 7 now. It's just not very interesting. And it doesn't really have an identity of its own. It's sort of half movies and half TV show, in terms of, it's like, hey, we're part of Marvel Cinematic Universe, but we're not really, but we are, but we're not, we're sort of there but not. So you get the impression that it's not entirely sure what its identity is, whether it's a tie-in or whether it's a spin-off or whether it's its own thing. It doesn't really know. But I mean, on the plus side, it's got a really good performance by J. August Richards, who played Charles Gunn on Angel, and doesn't really do that much anymore. But watching it, you're thinking, why wasn't he one of the main characters? Like, doesn't make any sense why he wouldn't be, because he's really good. Indeed, he outacts most people on the show. It does have Chloe Bennett in it, and Chloe Bennett is lovely. She's she's a good actress, but she's stunning at the same time. It's no denying it. And she's definitely, from this, she's got more of a star quality than most people in the cast, including Coulson. I don't want to be cruel to Clark Gregg, but he doesn't. They're going for the everyman thing, and I get it, but no, it doesn't really do anything for me in terms of, making him stand out. He blends in, and that's fine when he's dealing with like characters like Captain America and Tony Stark, because he should blend in compared to them. But you still have a bit more life to him, and there's not really that much here. And that's not the actor's fault, it's the character. The character's big, giant ball of nothing. So I don't think I'm watching more Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't really care, to be honest, too. It doesn't really do anything for me. So, there you go. What did I give this episode? Like 2.5 out of 5. It was watchable, but nothing I'd really watch again, to be honest. So, there you go. Yep, time for the wrap-up. So let's wrap this up. Thanks for listening as always. Thanks for following this podcast. Thanks for supporting it during this month where I've just got so fed up doing episodes every day. I won't be doing these. I'll probably not do this again, but I probably will. Probably do it again next year. And feel free to tune back in tomorrow for Captain Marvel at some point. I don't know when. Probably not usual time. Probably later on in the day, but we'll be there at some point. And as always, remember, life is beautiful. And also, don't watch the Leprechaun movies. They're all terrible. Until next time, bye.